What is going on, guys? It is your boy TKD12D here, back here in Plays and Swords. This is, of course, Road to Forbidden West, the weekly podcast dedicated to any and all things Horizon Forbidden West, from news, lore, reactions, and upon release, our review, along with a spoiler cast to end the series. With me, of course, is the now official Plat Champ, PS Trophy Room's other half, Joe, Mr. Badbit Moraine. How you doing, good sir?
What's up? And that is correct. I am the official Plat Champ now that I have platted Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. So please clap. That's for the audience. Please clap.
I'm clapping. Yeah. I've heard like Sekiro is like more of a it's less of a like defensive Souls game and more of a offensive Souls game. Like you're encouraged to be more aggressive. Is that true? Or is that Bloodborne that people say that about?
You could say it about both, but Sekiro is about reaction and counter reactions. So like, okay. It is about being offensive. Like there are parries and then there are deflects. So when you slash and they slash and the swords meet, then there's like dodges or perfect dodges, Mikiri counters, and like countering, like you deflected their attack and then you get an attack in on them, and there's a whole system. It's a very, I think it's the most in-depth combat system in a From Software game, that's for sure, because they just focus it on melee and not spells or ranged. So like they really it's really about that one thing, so they get to go in a lot of depth on it. So
I see. I just felt like the way I talk about Returnal sometimes with people, where I go deep into like, so when you get to the 5th biome, you're gonna want to use the Electropin driver if you can get your hands on it, and the Dreadbound, you know what I'm saying, and that damage siphon gonna be a good like all the
God, what's the weapon in Returnal that's like the light machine gun? That's
the Hound Seeker. I
think Hollow Seeker.
Something Seeker.
Yeah,
Hollow Seeker.
Dude, that is the best weapon. You get that, portals, and then like turrets on it as well.
Portals is OP.
OP is all hell.
I love Returnal, bro.
And you need that. And when you get to the 6th biome, where you get all those goddamn squids everywhere for no reason, and you're like, because like those turrets just lock on. And they're just a really great defense mechanism,
Oh, man, look, before we get into the housekeeping, all that, right?
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, there's the IGNs,
sure,
right? There's the Polygon, there's the kind of funnies, right? You know what I'm saying? But the real ones know what the game of the year is.
Returnal.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That was our game of the year. That was our game of the year over at the Trophy Room PlayStation Podcast, made by the players 100%. For the players, and that's why we say by 100%. The players for the players. Because the real ones.
I'm gonna have to agree.
That's right.
Housekeeping here. Catch us here on YouTube.com/Plays and Swords, as well as podcast services like Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, etc. via the anchor link down below in the description. Like the video and rate the podcast. Help us get even more viewers so we can grow the PSS family as well. Down below as well, you can let us know what you like or dislike about the show, and connect with us further on Twitter and Discord in that very same description. If you're feeling generous, hit that join button, become a member of the channel with the $1 Prince tier, just like the people Musa did, and our $5 King tier member, just like Caleb Kaiser, SideQuest Sean, the Iraq Knight, and of course the homie Owen. And if of course you want to check out some stream series action, we've been doing Horizon Zero Dawn. We did 2 streams this week, so now we're about, I think we're 3, 6, 9. We're like around like 12-15 hours in the Horizon.
Wow. So you're that type of streamer. You're like, I'm streaming for 7 hours today.
I like to keep it to 3 hours.
Okay.
3 hours of stream, because like once we get to, with Last of Us Part 2, I was doing like 6-hour streams with like Last of Us Part 2. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like that was a whole different beast where I just wanted to get through that game as fast as possible and get the story as fast as possible.
Yeah.
To like avoid spoilers. But yeah, if it's like over 4 hours, I start getting like, I need to do something else.
Yeah.
I cannot just sit and do something for. I just gotta go rest. Yeah. But of course, all that housekeeping as well. One more thing I'm gonna add down below. You can have the links to, of course, Joe, Mr. Bad Bits, of course, PS Trophy Room podcast. Everyone check out that. The Spotify link is down there as well. His YouTube, Twitter, everything everything you need to know down there in that description. And of course, rate us on Apple Podcasts as well. Very much appreciated.
Really does help us out.
And yeah, so I think you said you were gonna start Horizon this week. I forgot if you said.
Yeah, I literally, I'm like, I got through the prologue where okay. I'm, adult Aloy at this point.
Yeah. I forgot that you start as younger Aloy.
I mean, a literal baby.
Literal baby. Yeah.
When I booted it up this morning, I was like, isn't it crazy? This game looks still stellar. Like, this game came out, like, at this point, 5 years ago?
5 years ago.
And like, it looks toe-to-toe like a game that came out either this year or last year.
I'm gonna have to agree. Yeah, like, the only things that, like, are clear signs that, this is an older game is something that we've talked about. The facial animations aren't that great, but the actual character models I think are pretty good.
Yeah,
I think like really good, actually. Not even pretty good, like really good. Models, just like the actual animation, I don't think is great, but mm-hmm. we've seen that's fixed already in the new game. But,
absolutely.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Like, there are some environments where you're walking through and like it's sunset and you get those. I love that this game does those very artificial like lens flares.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about? Where like I know that like doesn't happen like to the human eye.
Yeah.
And that happens only in like lenses, but I love that look. I love like the Michael Bay. They're not as Michael Bay as Michael Bay.
Are you talking about like when you're looking out like the skybox and how like the light like hits Aloy or like hits the trees and stuff like that? Because like that's how the skybox in this game is incredible. I mean, the environments alone are like incredible. Mm-hmm. It's so beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, it's a really good open world to like exist in, you know what I'm saying? Yep. And so I've been finding a lot of that like as I'm off stream just doing side missions and stuff like that. Yeah. And also like but specifically like it's the like blue lens flare that happens sometimes.
Oh, like with the robot's eyes?
No, it's like with the sun. Like it'll be like eclipsing over the horizon, no pun intended. Mm-hmm. And then it'll do like a very like artificial looking like blue like orb like line type of flare.
I can't. I don't have the name off the top of my head, but yeah, I totally get what you're saying now. Yeah,
not Michael Bay, J.J. Abrams.
A JJ-esque.
I'm a sucker for that.
Yeah.
Sucker for that.
Yeah. Also, I'm sorry if you guys can hear anything in the background. I have no idea what's going on behind me, but it is loud and obnoxious, and I apologize. I don't even know what these sounds are.
This morning, me and my cat were chilling, and like I think the people downstairs, I started banging on the ceiling. And that scared the shit out of me. I was like, "Yo," I'm like, "No one's here. Like, no one's making noise."
Yeah, Mittens, is it you? What are you doing over there, Mittens?
I was just making some coffee, I have a banana.
But real talk, like the thing that like impresses me with the world of Horizon is like, dude, the grass, like the flowers. It's like I'm like into horticulture. That's what this game's got me into. It's like, is that some arugula back there? What is this? This is. I love.
Must be a botanist.
Yeah. Like I love the environments, man. Like I'm falling in love with it all over again. It's great.
Yeah, I love it. I've been really enjoying it. Yeah, and I hope everyone here listening is also playing Horizon Zero Dawn because you should. Yeah, you should.
I thought you're like, I hope everybody listening likes Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm like, if you don't, I don't know what show you're watching. I don't know why you're here.
You know what? If you dead ass don't like Horizon, please comment below.
Not a fan.
I'm just curious.
I'm here for the host.
I just want to know. Well, let me tell you something that we definitely did not like to see this week.
What's that?
Of course, Horizon Forbidden West has leaked. Here, first up on the news section, coming to us from Robert Ramsey on Push Square. I'm gonna read the update first, and then we'll go into the original story for just a little bit more context. According to VGC, the recent Horizon Forbidden West leak is probably real. Sources have told the publication that the full PS4 game, minus some missing art assets, is out there in the wild. This would suggest that the leaked version of Forbidden West is an unfinished build, perhaps a developer build that's somehow been pulled from Sony servers. This will also explain how it's appeared so far ahead of its February 18th release date. But the original story goes to, of course, Horizon Forbidden West is set to release in just over a month. It'll be here before you know it, but in the meantime, you might want to start being wary of potential spoilers. Supposedly, the PS4 version of the game has somehow leaked well ahead of launch, and off-screen images of the open world title have made their way online. For the record, these images look legit, but there's obviously no way to verify their authenticity at this point. And that's pretty much the gist of it. I think Video Game Chronicles is the one that broke this story initially, but links below in the description to the Push Square article. Mr. Badbit.
Yeah.
This has happened to us before.
With The Last of Us.
I'm sure you recall Last of Us Part 2. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That, and I would make the argument that obviously you don't want any of these games to leak. Obviously, right? Like any game leak is really bad, right?
Yeah.
I feel like it's a little bit less of a problem with Forbidden West and the type of game it is, because it's such an open world, long RPG type of game where you're like, the main crux of the story is not the main draw of the game, as opposed to like The Last of Us, where yes, it's gameplay that we played in part 2 is phenomenal. I love the gameplay, right? But that is very much like hell bent on its narrative and dies on the story.
Right.
What do you think, though?
I don't. So, first off, don't spoil this game. Don't be that person. Because you're trying to ruin fun, and spoilers for me, like, you could literally tell me the end of anything, and I really don't care. Because it's not about, like, you could tell me Spider-Man dies in No Way Home, which he, maybe does or doesn't, who knows? And I'd be like, okay, because it's about seeing that happen. Right? It's about like the journey. It's not about the destination. So real talk, like, I've gotten spoiled for No Way Home. I actually got spoiled for Endgame. And
oh, that hurts.
But here's the thing. It didn't, because I saw that and it was just, it was then you're actually experiencing it. Right? Because with these spoilers, you're just getting a text or a picture. And you're like, to me, at least my brain goes, well, how did we get here? I don't care about any of this if I don't know how I got here, right? So first things first, don't spoil it. It only tells me that you're not a horrible person, you're a sad person. And the only way you get happiness is by trying to take other people's happiness. And so I actually feel bad for the people that are spoiling it, because you spent your time to beat a game before everybody else did, just so that you could ruin happiness. And right. That's pathetic. So I don't mind spoilers, because it is about the journey to me. But I know there are some people that are like, yeah, I didn't watch Mandalorian, or it didn't hit as well for me because, the last episode got spoiled for me and it sucked. So, for me, it's not about, it really isn't about the spoilers, more so that the people doing it are just bad faith actors. And when it comes to Horizon, I don't know about you, it's not Last of Us, right? Where I think The Last of Us lives and dies off that story. And it's not to speak any ill of Horizon, because I think it's a beautifully written game, and in a lot of ways better written than Last of Us Part 2, in all seriousness. And I think, though, when it comes to Horizon Forbidden West, there's nothing to me on the line of, like, when it comes to The Last of Us story, The Last of Us is brutal. It's this brutal world that, like, yeah, you can see a main character go, and that's anxiety producing. But I think when I look at Aloy, I'm like, okay, she ain't going, and she is literally the only person and not to speak ill of any of these characters, but, like, I love Aloy. So I'm like, she's the only character that truly matters to me that makes it out. So it's really about the journey she's taking and how that character evolves, because unlike, The Last of Us or like I still, and I believe this, Kev. I believe this wholeheartedly. This is not a spoiler. This is just a idea in my head. Kratos is absolutely dying at the end of Ragnarok. He's absolutely going.
Yeah.
So like, you know, because to me, Kratos' arc is done. Kratos is a fulfilled character. There is so much more to go for Aloy. So it's like, what else? What can you really spoil other than like, here's the plot analysis? And if any indication of how much that really matters, you could take a look at like No Way Home as a great example of like, we knew how that movie was going to start, beginning and end, and it still made buku bucks. People still loved it because at the end of the day, it is about the journey you're taking with the character and with that story. So I know that was a rant.
No, definitely no. Yeah. It's all good. Yeah, like I've talked to people that have your same opinion of like, oh, you know, like if it's a spoiler, like it's not like the end of the world for me. You know what I'm saying? Like I still want to go and like see what road this narrative takes to get to that point. Yeah. To get to that spoiler point, right? With me, like I think it kind of just depends on like at when do I get exposed to said spoiler and when am I supposed to experience that spoiler, right?
I can see
like
that
if it's like I did not know the FF7 spoiler.
Oh, okay.
The like big death, right? Until I played the game and like experienced that. If someone told me that when I was like 15 or like 16 or whatever, you know, and I play it when I'm 22,
yeah,
I'm probably not gonna remember the spoiler, you know.
Yeah.
And that could even be like a few months apart, you know. So like as long as like there's some time, it's like whatever. But but like as a whole, I would rather not get spoiled. You know what I'm saying? Like I love the I love the pop and shock.
No, I definitely get it. I totally do. I think perfect world. But as the land of like the content creator side goes, it's like I can't be married to that idea anymore. But you know, a great example, because to me, I know how the story goes in Final Fantasy VII, right? So like playing the remake, which was my first Final Fantasy game that I've ever actually truly beaten. Hashtag gasp.
No, me too.
Yeah. I was just like, oh, okay. So so they're doing different things here. And I'm still playing that game knowing the ideas that are going to come or the twists that they could take with the story that they're telling here. But like, I already know who's living and who's dying. And the general, like I know how that game ends, but I'm still playing it and experiencing it for the first time. And it's still a really good experience, you know?
Oof, man. Don't even get me started on FF7, man. Oh, I can go. I could talk for hours. Oh, man.
You and Kyle.
I fucking love that's my favorite game of all time, period.
Yeah.
Period. But yeah, please don't spoil the game. Please don't spoil. Like I kind of thought about disabling comments for this one just cuz like we address it, but we'll see. I might let the comments live.
Yeah. I'd let the comments live too. I would.
And yeah, like it is interesting that it's the PS4 version specifically. That our assets aren't complete in this version. That's also interesting, right? So like it's a little bit different. And I know my friend Christian has seen the off-screen images. There's one of a cutscene and one of in-game gameplay that he has seen. At least two different screenshots.
Interesting.
But I don't know if like there is a full story synopsis out there. I don't know if he would even go and like look for that because he definitely doesn't want to get spoiled. But
right.
But yep, be on
the lookout out there, boys. And if you really truly care about spoilers, you know, be wary.
I'll start muting like 2 weeks out.
Oh yeah.
I'll start muting like 2 weeks out.
Yeah.
I'll start muting words and hashtags and all that. But next up here, of course, we have a big rumor that isn't specifically tied to Horizon, but could potentially be, you know, tied to Horizon. We have a rumor of a state of play. This comes to us from, of course, industry insider Tom Henderson. This man has plugs with Naughty Dog, with Call of Duty leaks, primarily he used to focus on. But when he's been getting Naughty Dog scoops, now he has like just specific Sony scoops Very intriguing. This gentleman here, Tom Harrison, but he put out a tweet on January 9th, 6:04 a.m. bright and early. He says, quote, "The current rumor is that the next Sony event looks like it could be in February based on this month's media events and past PlayStation dates. It'll probably be State of Play, but has the potential to be a pretty big one, in my opinion."
Yeah.
Now, of course, the next big PlayStation IP is Horizon, that is launching with Forbidden West February 18th. There's also Gran Turismo 7 that could also be here. I feel like they would almost... I just don't know, like... So, I guess... You know what? Let's just stop here for a second. Like,
yeah.
We already have a Horizon-specific State of Play, right? Mm-hmm. So there hasn't been evidence to support the theory that like they would do another one of the same game, right? Is this where we just get a launch trailer and that's it for Horizon, or
no.
do you think we're due for another gameplay thing? Like,
so it could be two things. It really could be two things. I think one, this is Horizon GT7 Spartacus. Like that's why it's
PSVR 2.
No, you're saving that for a separate event. You don't want to mix up the two. Okay. So like, they're like, here's our games that you should be excited for. Let's just say it drops late January, early February, and it gets you hyped for Sifu, it gets you hyped for Horizon, it gets you hyped for GT7, right? And then go, and we are launching this big service sometime soon, which would be Spartacus. That's why I think Tom is alluding to that when he's like, it's a bigger deal.
Yeah.
Cool. Obviously, there's a lot of things that are like really cool about that. I think every game that is coming out is going to have its own State of Play. Like, I'm the one of the belief where that one's probably it, as I'm saying it in my head, where you're getting all four things right there. And as we've seen, PS now is being taken out of store shelves. So like it's probably that one. But I think the thing that I'm still thinking about is like the Ghost of Tsushima State of Plays, the Last of Us State of Plays, where these were solo events deep diving into the systems of said game. Now, you're right, Horizon has already kind of had that. Is this, I think, a shorter 5 to 10 minute State of Play? That's where I'm really thinking it is. It's one more slice to get you hyped, and then it's that release trailer on top of it. It just the last reminder of this game's coming out February 18th.
Yeah. For me, like, I would be open to seeing more Horizon. I know we're really close to release, but I don't want to see like specifically what, like, how about this? Like, I would love to see what they talk about a lot on the blog in terms of like the different tribal locations, right?
Yeah.
And how that all works, because like they seem to be, emphasizing that they have evolved that since the first game. Mm-hmm. I would love to see, like, I know we saw the fight with the Tremor Tusk in the first gameplay segment. So that probably has satisfied me in terms of like seeing like a big like boss battle in Horizon, but I would love to see like another like fight. That's just showing like a little bit more of like a new slant to it. Because as far as I'm aware, like the Tremor Tusk was just, it seemed like what you would do in Horizon Zero Dawn, right? Like you're finding weak points, and that's probably like all of Horizon. But
I would love to see more of that melee combat, man. I think that that's the biggest area where it shows improvement, but like, man, even a little bit more in depth. Like, hey, Aloy doesn't have to just be all bow and arrow. This is her spear, and this is what this thing does now.
Yeah, you're right. You know what? I would actually love to see that. I would love to see her sneaking into an enemy encampment and clearing one out, and then maybe there's like a machine over at the end or whatever. Yeah.
You're seeing how those machines and human combat have kind of merged into one.
Yeah, and then hopefully at the end of the mission, she takes off on her Sunhawk and flies. Yeah, that would be great. You know what I'm saying? But Sifu also comes to mind for this State of Play as well. Mm-hmm. I feel like Sifu could get a little something. Depending on when in February this actually drops, because I know
if it's anything like the Ratchet and Clank State of Play, I think that's like attached to it at the end.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Right. But just to be aware, there is a Let's Stay play. I'm sure you can watch it with either Trophy Room or me. Watch with Trophy Room. They're probably more entertaining.
Oh my goodness, thanks.
You know what I'm saying?
Now you go watch Kev. He look at how excited he is.
Joe,
he already can't contain himself. You know.
Listen, there will never be a February State of Play that will top last year.
Yeah.
When it was on my birthday. I've been asking for months a Final Fantasy VII Remake PS5 version. That's all. That's all I wanted for my birthday, and Square gave it to me. And I cried. It was awesome.
And now they're going to sell you an NFT about it. You're going to be hyped.
Oh my god, Joe, I got Cloud Stripe's NFT sword.
Oh my god, what does that mean? Sword. I don't know. Nobody knows what it means, but it's provocative. Yeah.
But that's Troy, you know what I'm saying? Oh, bad joke.
Oh, he's gotten it enough.
Yeah, shot to Troy Baker. To Troy Baker. Topic of the show here, of course, getting into it here, episode 2. We talked a little bit about this last week.
Yeah.
But I figured, you know what? Let's really get all the cards at play, and let's really break this down.
Sure.
Horizon Forbidden West multiplayer mode. Is it happening? Is it not? I have 2 links on the doc that I want to kind of go over, because I think this is a good like tone setter of like, okay, like this is what we got going on in terms of multiplayer and guerrilla, right? So specifically, I'll be reading an article here from VGC, written by Andy Robinson, where they go over some guerrilla games staffing that involves multiplayer. So among the roles advertised on Guerrilla's website is a senior social systems designer position, which is looking for applicants who, quote, have a passion for player communities and social features, who can, quote, explore creative ways players can connect with others in game. Mm-hmm. And then the listing also goes on to say, you know, you need things like being able to engage players in social interactions to create lasting relationships, and where compatible players can create guild-like groups to explore together.
Oh, wow.
Take with that as you will. You know what I'm saying? The listing also goes on to say...
Dude, you got me hyped.
You know what I'm saying?
This is an MMO they're making, man.
By the way, this is September 29th, 2021.
Right.
This is not that long ago.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think I remember we talked about this on the Trophy Room. Yeah, that screams MMO. That screams Monster Hunter Rise. That's awesome. Like, I know from the No Clip doc, they wanted to put multiplayer in the original Horizon. And I just think because of the tech at the time, they couldn't do that, which... has me thinking, I'm like, man, if they could put it in this game, that would be wonderful. But you also still have the PlayStation 4 version to think about, so that's probably the hindrance, right? But at the same exact time, what if they looked at it going, okay, what if we have this solo experience? And like, since this idea of multiplayer is so huge, why don't we just make this 2 separate games? Right, and more than just like Last of Us and Last of Us, factions. I always want to say fractions, but this is, again, you have your main Monster Hunter game, and then you get the Monster Hunter spin-off games like the Rise and stuff like that. What if it's like that? That would be awesome. When now, like, I'm crafting my own character, and sure, the combat isn't like 1-to-1 to Horizon, because it can't be, but like you have your different classes that you're tuned for, and maybe even you take like the focus away from them, and that's what the big difference between Aloy and these groups of folks are. But like, that's endless possibilities.
Yeah. Also, you mentioned that like they did want to put multiplayer in the original game. On the Reddit link I linked as well in the doc, there's some concept art from 2014 that like clearly depicts like multiplayer like hunting going on. Like, it's great that like there's already like precedence that goes all the way back to like before the first game even came out, when they were developing it, that they wanted to do co-op multiplayer, as well as flying machines.
Because remember, that's been in their blood for a while, and now I think there's a strong argument with let's be honest, the downfall of World of Warcraft finally happening and the rise of something like a Final Fantasy 14, where like companies looking at this going, yeah, we don't need to be number one, it just needs to be big enough to support itself and sustain itself. And I think that would be a really smart move by PlayStation to say, you know what makes Horizon good? Or you know, or not even what makes Horizon good. What the fundamentals of Horizon doesn't need to change, in order to bring in a multiplayer component. If we can actually just make a separate game about that multiplayer component, the ideas are so big and so grandiose. Let's just make our own separate thing about this. I think the Horizon universe is so vast that you could go out and explore things via whether it's a single player experience, a VR experience, or a huge multiplayer experience, that it's going to serve a whole lot of people. And then you have that like transmedia idea of all these people are, you know, consuming that same thing. And whether like the Horizon movie thing, you know, comes to fruition, that's also another, you know, thing that they're probably thinking about.
Yeah. I think you hit like a nail on the head in terms of like Sony being like, hey, like with our popular IPs, like as long as they are good products, right? Why not make a Last of Us HBO series?
Yeah.
You know? And why not, you know, like line that up with like a PS5 remake, hypothetically speaking, right? You know, and when you say like separate game, right? What I'm imagining this hypothetical co-op thing, like what might be like the most likely scenario, I'm thinking of like Legends from Ghost of Tsushima. Like, were you on that wavelength in terms of like a separate game where like Legends is now a separate client?
Yeah.
It wasn't at first, but now it's a separate client. Like, do you imagine that, or do you imagine like truly just like they're two separate properties? Like
they're two separate things. Like, I think this multiplayer game will play differently than what we experience as Aloy, right? So like, but how different and how divorced, there has to be some similarities, right? So like, it'll be similar, it'll have the same art, and it'll have the same basic tenets, but some of those tenets need to change because you're incorporating, once you incorporate another person into the environment, you change the gameplay. Well, I'm at least assuming in my head, right? Like the gameplay has to change around that. And so how many people are we having in a party? You know, is it 3? Is it 2? Is it 4, 6, whatever? 5. Just make it, you know, whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point too, because they would have to balance that, right? Because like, I mean, you could probably mop any machine if you have one person using the rope caster, tying him down, right? Yep. And then you have one dude that has, let's say, it's a snap maw, right? So you would use fire arrows to get them to that burn state, and you have someone with the Terra Blast arrows shooting off their armor and then going with the armor piercing and just taking them out. Like that could be done in like a minute and a half, you know. So I do wonder, like, they do have to balance, like, you know, how many people are they gonna have in a hunting party. And then also, like,
ooh, he called it a hunting party. Right? Someone from Gorilla, you can steal that from us.
I'm in there. Let's go, yo.
Yeah, and like, party, bro. And at the same exact time, that beast has to react to 3 separate people, and those 3 separate people need to have. See, look, we're already like we already have the D&D map laid out, and like those people have to have their, you know, their responsible portions at play. So yeah, like. There's a lot to go into that, because if you just add another person in Horizon, the base game, again, that changes something, because you're like, yeah, I got the rope caster here, you know, I got this and you got that, and you're just tackling that one beast. That one beast is at the disadvantage, and just by adding 25% more health, that doesn't necessarily make things challenging.
That, and then I also don't think like, oh, if you have like one big machine and like a bunch of little machines, right, that are going at you, like, I don't think
that's Destiny. I've already played Destiny.
Yeah, like, I don't think that would be a great way to. I don't think that'd be a great way to go about it too. Like, maybe some really cool like area of effect, like massive attacks that the machine can do, or something like that, or ways that it can counter. It's like if it's like weak to like fire, like maybe it has like I don't know, like a cooling system where
Right.
you know it negates that unless you shoot that part off of its body.
Yeah, and that's
like that,
where
you
the
know?
other class comes in, where they're like an armor piercer, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Dude, you could take like I'm really taking the tenets of like World of Warcraft's raid mechanics, and I like how I'm thinking it in my head. Taking a look at like World of Warcraft's raid mechanics with the mechanics, the true like mechanics of Monster Hunter when you're dealing with that one big foe and all the crazy malarkey that thing does.
Right. And then now I'm thinking like, okay, like if they lean into like the MMO like style, like this co-op, right? Are we gonna be able to pick a tribe? Like, can you fight for Karja? Can you fight for Nora? You know what I'm saying? Like, can you, or any of the new tribes that are in the Forbidden West, which we'll know about when the game comes out? Like, are we gonna be able to like pledge to a tribe and like, you know, in the
what
very,
if our
like,
tribe is
style,
our guild? Right? Yeah.
I like that. I like the. Okay. I like the way you're thinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm thinking of those social mechanics in my head.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. Like now, I'm thinking like this may be like 1-to-1, but like is it like a faction style where we're bringing back resources from our hunts to supply our tribe? You know, something like that. I would love like a weekly hunt that they could do.
Yeah.
Like every Friday night, like there's gonna be a fat monster in this region. Like go get them tribes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, oh man.
I'm really, because like the only true thing I have to reference is World of Warcraft, where like guilds were this social mechanic to help you find a group of folks that you align with, or that you want to RP with, or you want to PvP with, or you want to do the end game raids. And that's what I'm thinking there, where it's just like, it's not so much, hey, you know, maybe you get a boost in experience or like gold or something when you're parlaying or partying with you're going on goddamn hunts with your buds, more so than like, you know, like a tally system of like which guild is best, you know?
Okay. Right. I see. We've been talking a lot about like the PvE Monster Hunter style, which like definitely makes sense in the context of Horizon, right? Like that would likely be the most realistic choice. I feel like they would go down, but
Sure.
Could you imagine a PvP? Do we have ideas on how like they would do a PvP thing? Like is it Pokemon style? Are we gonna be breeding
Yes.
machines?
I was against this idea until you said a Pokemon. I want my goddamn robots to evolve, as they'll call it, upgrade. No, I think this is purely PvE. I don't want PvP in this. If we're making my perfect multiplayer experience of PvP, because I don't know how that works. I think the thing that makes Horizon unique is that you're fighting these big beasts, not that you're fighting each other.
Yeah, and like we've talked about, right? Where like in the first game, like, you know, when you're fighting a human, you're like, damn, I wish I was fighting a machine right now. You know, like that's just how that goes. Unless they make combat way better in Forbidden West in the new game, where like
Which it looks like.
I'm down to, yeah. We'll see. It's not the like yearning I have where like with Legends, right? I really wanted duels in Legends to drop, right? Like I wanted to like straight up pull up with my katana and like do a straight up duel with a friend. Like that would have been insane, but I just don't know if that fits in Horizon.
No, and it definitely like, because as much as like that would be cool to have duels in Ghost Legends, it just like that, the way that game is set up, it just doesn't have PvP in mind. That's why like I was surprised Sekiro, going back, didn't have a duel mechanic, because I think legitimately it could happen there, but it wouldn't fit tonally with the game that they're trying to make.
Right. Yeah. Now we can go multiple different routes, but let me walk you down a little train of thought here, because for all we know, Guerrilla Games is a big studio.
Yeah.
Right. This could not be Horizon related, or maybe it is. I have a theory.
A theory.
All right. I have a theory. Okay?
A game theory?
Oh yeah, I have a game theory. Let me take you on this nice, you know, brisk walk we got going on.
Okay, I'm frolicking.
I'm reading here from the Reddit link below in the description. Okay, in 2018, Guerrilla Games rehired game director Simon LaRoche. And I did videos on this back in 2018. Like, I remember when this happened, okay? To work on an unannounced title, which is potentially related to this week's job listings, as of this Reddit posting. So, this was 4 months ago. We still don't know what title he's working on. I made sure and double checked. It is not Call of the Mountain. And it's also not Forbidden West. Okay? This designer has worked on huge multiplayer experiences like Rainbow Six Siege. And the Reddit says an online mode for Guardians of the Galaxy. Not sure if that was just like unreleased or they had something planned for that, but or maybe another Guardians game that I'm unaware of. But apparently there was an online mode for Guardians that was in development, never came out. I don't know. Splinter Cell Backlist and Killzone 2. He used to work at Guerrilla, so they brought him back, right? So now I'm thinking, okay, now when that came out in 2018, myself and like a lot of people were pointing to, okay, like maybe this is like some sort of like new SOCOM, right? Or a new like multiplayer shooter, right? That's more tactical style, right? Sure. Maybe that's what they want back, right? Maybe it's another Killzone, maybe something like that. Or what if it's Civilization fighting back against the Faro robots? This week, as I was looking through the audio logs of Horizon, right, like delving into the past, in that world, right, there's a lot of audio logs about them having like military fronts on like different coasts, and the machines coming up from the ocean as the Faro robots were, they kept like disobeying the protocol of the Faro company, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm getting chills. Dude, this story's so good, guys. Like,
it's so good. No, it's so good. It's so good, bro. It's so good. So now I'm like, what if they're making some sort of like multiplayer shooter that's like maybe like horde mission based? Maybe it's a linear experience, like
Back 4 Blood-esque.
Yeah, like what if it's a horde machine mode, and you're the military fighting against the Faro robots, so that they can have time to initiate Project Zero Dawn? What if the game is called Project Zero Dawn?
Like, someone get this man a job.
Yo,
no, because
I think that would be fire.
I was so against this idea, but like the way you got me to this solution, man.
Okay. I think it could work.
Again, this universe, I'm of so many minds, because at one point I'm like, the thing that made, let's talk about like Star Wars in the 70s, 80s, right? What made that series special, and I think what made it not just the amazing everything about it, but they would always make references, right? Like, oh, I knew your father back in the Clone Wars. What was the Clone Wars? What was that all about, right? And like Yoda having like like having so much mystery to him as well, and like I get the same feeling here when they talk about the Project Zero Dawn and getting to that point, and how like they are telling they're so talented at Guerrilla. I really hope one of these devs are listening and getting that boost you need, because they're telling two different stories. One that was like hopeless, but how that hopeless story ties into this rising beacon of hope towards the end. And like they entwined it together so perfectly that like I was envisioning what was happening back in the before times. And like when you see glimpses of those bots, like in the mountains, you're like, oh my God, wow. And like there was like one audio log talking about like a platoon that was like just fighting them off to buy them time. That at one point I would love to see them at the same time do their own IP again, because this one was so successful. And I love the freedom that PlayStation has given them. When they had Killzone, they're like, you can go out and do this RPG. So like them going, hey, we love this RPG you're doing. We have so much faith in it. Go out there and make this other thing. So you maybe have two big things at once. That excites me. And like, is it, yeah, the rumor because of his tenure is like, could be Killzone, and it's a Killzone Rainbow Six-esque game, which is dope if you just worked on some of the mechanics from, Shadowfall and brought them here. That would be awesome and stellar, and I love the multiplayer of Killzone. Or you could do a Soulcom game because you don't have a grounded military shooter, but in this political climate, how do you do that without upsetting anybody? Or do you just go, hey, I'm an artist and we're going to upset people, but it is what it is and we're going to tell this story? That's actually really cool. That's a really great idea. But like, is SOCOM it? Are we truly missing SOCOM, or are we saying we're missing SOCOM?
Yeah,
or
that's a very good point. Yeah.
Or we can do this story within its universe, but it be so tonally different, where it's like, this is a third-person RPG, this is a first-person military futuristic shooter based in the Horizon universe. So you're getting like some of the artistic essence from Horizon dipped into this multiplayer shooter. That's cool. But then there's also the question to me of like, again, sorry for all the rants, but like,
no, please go.
The thing that, and I've learned to love the ideas of the prequels, but the one criticism of the prequels is like, you took this concept that I had in my head that you could have never put on a canvas that would have matched my own imagination to this.
That's a very good point, right? Where it's like you said, right? Like when I'm hearing the logs in Horizon, right, and they're talking about I forgot it was like excellent victory or victory something. I forgot what was the actual like military like name for the push to fight against the machines. Yeah. To give Project Zero Dawn more time to be developed. I forgot what that was called, but like Same. Hearing about that, right, and like hearing about the head of the military like saying like all of these lives are like on my watch, like like just hearing that backstory. You're right, like I don't know if it's ever gonna be as cool as it is in my head, right? Like I don't know if like people that watched Star Wars back in 1977 like was the Clone Wars animated series did that live up to the hype?
I got this. Nobody expected Jar Jar Binks. Nobody expected. But at the same exact time, though, I will say this: that like the other side of the coin is, first off, the Clone Wars grew into a franchise that people absolutely love and has given us characters that I think stand almost toe-to-toe with the originals in terms of like, I'm thinking of someone like Ahsoka and build upon that backstory. And also you can see, at the same vein, other flip of the coin, where you take a look at someone like Dave Filoni with the Filoniverse that they're making with Mando, Book of Boba, and soon to be so many awesome no, I shouldn't curse, but oh my god.
We're getting an Obi-Wan show,
dude,
bro.
Dude.
We're gonna see Hayden Christensen and Anakin again.
I know, man.
Bro.
It's happening.
Ahsoka's getting her own show.
It's happening. And at the same exact time, that my favorite episode of Mando is where they're just like, we're bringing it down to the absolute essence of what Star Wars is. I think it's episode 5 of Mando 2, and I won't say anything if anybody hasn't seen it, you're gonna yell at me. Is where it's like, this is a Western, and this is a Kurosawa futuristic love letter. And like, it is so opposite of what Star Wars we know it of, but we love it because the true essence of what makes Star Wars is it's a Kurosawa and Western love letter. So like you took that in its rawest form, put it in this episode, and it was just incredible. And we loved it as much as we loved the rest. So it could work both ways. And I do think, as much as I appreciate the universe, someone like George Lucas has made, They got better writers here. So I think they're whatever they can do, they can pull it off without introducing a Jar Jar. But whatever it is, I'm totally down as long as this is what the team wants to make rather than what corporate wants the team to make. And I know
Absolutely.
I know Sony, and I know this is what the team wants to make, you know?
Right. Yeah. I just want to run that theory and just like see like if that sounds like good. Like, would you even be interested in like playing like obviously it'd be a evolution to Killzone, but like I imagine like it would look and have similar cues to like a Killzone type of look that like they've done in the past, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Knowing that they brought the original, the director of 2 and the director of Rainbow here, it either spells two things. They want to make a PvP game, or they really want to focus on PvE. And what really excites me, I think, more than anything, is making a PvE game. Because I'm kind of, I don't know about you, man. I'm like, I love Halo. I love Halo Infinite. But I'm like, okay, I'm tired of getting so sweaty for these 2 hours. I really do. I think the idea that excites me more is I'm with my friends. We are fighting off waves of enemies, or we're like, you know, Back 4 Blood or Left 4 Dead or any of those games do really well. Is I get from A to B to C to Z and put obstacles in our way to get us there. I think that idea has me way more excited than like just a simple horde mode.
Yeah, I come from a like a very, very, very deep, aggressive PvP multiplayer background in terms of like COD. Like I was a COD fanboy back in the day. Like that's how I got into. That was like my third wave of like interesting games. It was like racing games, and then it was like Guitar Hero, and then it was just like a bunch of just random stuff, whatever. You know what I'm saying, like platformers, all that. But then it was COD from like 2009 to like 2014.
Yeah,
you know. And then I went and blew up, and now I just play everything, right?
Yeah.
Same. But like, yeah. So like, I'm a little bit more like interested in the PvP, right? But if we're talking about Horizon specifically, it's just writing on the wall, right? Like Horizon is like you play like 3 hours of Horizon, you're like, okay, I could see a PvE with my friends in this world.
Yeah.
Where we're hunting down machines, you know, like that just seems like such a natural evolution to how you would do multiplayer in Horizon. And I don't think maybe in Forbidden West we will see it, right? Like maybe you know, in this new game, how they start to bleed in the concept of PvP is like maybe in the Forbidden West, like maybe it's so outlawish and so out there that there's war for territory,
right?
You know, and you're fighting over territory, like in that way, and like that's the main initiation of conflict between humans in that land. Like maybe that's how they bring in PvP, but like still, like I've not seen it yet.
Yeah.
Like
the last thing I want is like some Nora Hunter going out there and like they're just like brushing up the trees, and then they find like somehow working Kalashnikov, and they're like, oh, whoa, pop, pop, pop. He's like shooting an automatic rifle. It's like, no, I don't want that. So like, it's either, I think it's PvE, but I don't want it to be based in the same time period. I would like it to be like we're fighting off the robot hordes type of thing. Yeah,
if we are going back and we're playing like the Faro robot invasion and like that taking over the globe and everything, like, oh man, like, because even like, when you shoot off weapons off of the machines, right, like that was the tech that they had, like they were in 2064, so it was more of a futuristic, sophisticated type of thing, and like that's where I bleed into like, oh, okay, like that's kind of what Killzone was in a way, you know what I'm saying? Like it was a futuristic like type of shooter overall, right? Yeah. So I just think like, I would be interested in playing that personally, and like have it, and I think they can make it feel as fresh, right, for someone that has not played Horizon and or just really into shooters, you know what I'm saying? I think that they can do that while still enticing those that know Horizon and know the lore to go in and like get that lore. What if Elizabeth Sobeck is in the game, bro?
Yeah. I think she would be.
Oh my God.
You know, that's the thing. Like, I see a lot of parallels between this and Halo for me, and I think that's why I love Horizon so much. It's like, yeah, like she's our Halsey. So I would, I definitely see Sobeck in here. I definitely feel like
do that.
Yeah,
dude, they could do that.
Mm-hmm.
They, look at that. Look at that. Well, that's all speculative, of course. You know what I'm saying? Like, none of that's confirmed. Even though, hey, there's a lot of pieces here. I hope they come together. I do imagine that. Obviously, it's clear that it won't be at launch. You know,
absolutely.
But I would love for like a July, August type drop. You know, out of the blue. If this is more of like the like Legends route, but I know you were saying like you want it to be like a whole separate like game and give it its
own
its
entity.
like TLC and care, as opposed to riding off the back of Forbidden West, which I assume Call of the Mountain is going to be riding off.
Oh man, yeah, we really went down the rabbit hill here. That's where we originally started. Woo wee.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's I think it's about it. So you're wanting a. Okay. What are we gonna call this game to end off? What are we calling the fall of civilization, the fall robot invasion across the world?
Oh man, I really like the Project Zero Dawn, a Horizon story. You know?
Okay. I do like that. I would love that title. I hope that because if you know, you know.
Yeah.
Right? But I feel like people will like confuse Horizon Zero Dawn with Project Zero Dawn.
Exactly.
Which I can understand. But like, I hope they just call it Project Zero Dawn. Like,
yeah. I mean, and let's all be honest. I keep on calling this Horizon, Zero Dawn 2 all the time when I'm thinking of Forbidden West. So, listen, I think this could work, man. I really do. They could, first off, they could name it whatever they want. I think it'd be.
Yeah.
I'm on board. Yeah.
That too. They can name it Human versus Human. I don't care.
Yeah.
But I'll take. But if what I'm dreaming is not gonna happen, and it's just a nice Monster Hunter style PvE thing, I'm also down for that. Let me be clear. I'm down for whatever. But I think that's about it for episode 2, man.
Oh man,
I think that's all we wrote. You got any last multiplayer thoughts about anything? You know what I'm saying?
No, nothing. I'm ready for Horizon. Be on the lookout for. Or don't be on the lookout. Avoid spoilers at all costs. Unless you want to. I don't know. Whatever structure, but multiplayer would be cool. Just another, and I'm gonna probably try to end this show on always this note. Just the appreciation that I know Kevin has for not just this game, but these developers, the teams making them, whether it's Guerrilla or their outside help, the writers, the voiceover talent, the people that zip the mocap suits. Thank you, because this has been, I can only assume, a tumultuous time for everybody as you've kind of secluded yourselves in your rooms to make this experience that we can escape out of ourselves being secluded in rooms. So thank you all so much.
Yeah. I've never felt like the amount of like appreciation like I fully feel for Gorilla like until I was hearing those audio logs, right? And like they're unraveling. You're right, like unraveling this, because the way Zero Dawn goes, right? Like you are experiencing two different stories, right? Like you have the issue with the Karja and Erend and all of that storyline, and then you have with Silence going into what is Project Zero Dawn, and you're like discovering like what happened to this world, right? And like for me, honestly, I find the Silence storyline a lot more enticing than the Erend Karja stuff. That's something that like I am like going through the motions of, where it's like I don't like hate the Erend Karja stuff, but like I just find it like a little bit less enticing in terms of like the Project Zero Dawn stuff, right? But I know they both collide in the end, and like we have a main path, right? But I appreciate that they could have just left the Project Zero Dawn stuff to kind of just like find for yourself in the world, right? Mm-hmm. But I love that they made sure to put it on the pedestal and focus it as well with missions that only pertain to that in the beginning, and then they both coalesce in the end.
Yeah.
But the story's fucking great, man.
I know.
Zero Dawn is great. Also, like, I forgot the metal flowers that you find in Horizon. Those are naturally grown.
Mm-hmm. I know, man. I know.
Are you kidding me? Tell you, man.
There's just so much I appreciate. Yeah, that game. There's a reason why it is, again, my game of the year of 2017. The reason why the trophy room exists and all that. It really is up there, one of my favorite games of all time. And doing this show with you, it reminds me constantly of why I love this team. So, again,
Indeed.
Can't wait. We're almost there. Buckle up. Things are about to get crazy.
Oh, what's the counter? Oh, man.
Oh, how many weeks away? I think we're like 3 weeks.
I should intro the show with that, honestly.
Or are we 4 weeks, guys?
Until Forbidden West.
As of recording.
34 days,
Ooh-wee.
7 hours, and 59 minutes.
Damn, how many seconds?
Actually, 55 seconds.
All right,
that's probably out.
No, that's past.
I'm gonna put this at the top of the dock.
Okay.
Right. This that way we don't.
There you go.
And by we, I mean me, because I'm
yeah, the host. Yeah.
You know.
I like being the co-host. This is great. I walk in, I'm like, hey, I get the wave, I get to walk out. It's nice.
Because like for like 6 months, I wasn't hosting any podcasts. So like this is like the first like podcast I'm hosting since like Road to Rift Apart. So
yeah,
had to get back in that flow state of being a host, but we've reached the end.
Ooh, like, share, subscribe.
Where can the people find you?
Oh, man, you can find me over at The Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast made by the players for the players, where me and my best friend Kyle talk about the latest and greatest in all things PlayStation each and every Thursday. This week, we do talk about the rumored PlayStation Spartacus intimate announcement. We talk about our PlayStation predictions for 2022, and we have an awesome interview with John McLaren, the voice of Star-Lord in the Guardians of the Galaxy game. It is an awesome interview.
I can't wait.
Very humble fellow. We recorded with him once, the literal day after, the morning after they won Best Narrative at the Game Awards. So yeah, it's really an awesome show. So you guys check that out. Make sure you rate us 5 stars. If you rate us 5 stars over on Apple Podcasts, you get a chance to win Horizon Forbidden West for the PlayStation 5 and or 4. So make sure you drop us 5 stars there. At me at Mr. Badbit, at me at PS Trophy Room, either handle at Twitter, and you're entered to win, man. It's a lot of folks. Right now we got over 225 Apple reviews over there, and it really does help us out. And then after you're done rating us there, guess what? You go and rate this show on Apple as well. Rate us over here on Spotify, because it really does help, and it grows the show, and it gets more eyes on Kev, it gets more eyes on me, and it's really beneficial, because then we get bigger and better opportunities, which means bigger and better content for you guys.
You love to see it.
I really do.
Yeah, love to see it. That episode's on my queue.
Yeah.
I might get to it today, actually. Yeah, I might get to it
Here's
today.
what I keep on doing. And Kyle has beaten me in, like, because like I feel bad, because like I do other shows as well, and I never shout them out. So I now have it in the notes. Like, mention the Horizon podcast, you dum-dum.
No, I mean, hey, you know.
No, I don't know. Because it aggravates me. Because Kyle will be like, you missed that. And I'm like, because here's the thing. When you're hosting, you're in the zone.
Absolutely.
And you're just
it's
like.
A flow state.
Oh.
Flow state. I hear you.
It's a lot, guys. It's a lot of work.
Love
you, Kev. Thank you for having me here, though.
Oh, no, of course.
This has been a blast. I love these first 2 episodes are just fun. I hope everybody's getting that vibe.
Once we start getting deep into like doing that, because I'm gonna figure out what next week's episode is. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure where we're going with that, but I do want to eventually like go over like the story of Horizon.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. And like, because we get into like the nerdy shit. Like, for example, for Ghost, we did like an episode all about the real history of the Mongol invasion and all that. Like, so we get mad nerdy here at Road 2. So I can't wait to get into that, of course. But I definitely wanted to get this multiplayer out of the way just because there's so much to discuss with that and everything. So next week, I will figure out what's next week's episode is. I'm not quite sure yet. I will set that aside for this week. But
sure.
Of course, if you enjoyed the episode here of Road to Forbidden West, catch the show here on youtube.com/plays in source, as well as podcast services like Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, etc. via the anchor link down below in the description. Of course, check out PS Trophy Room as well on those same platforms. Like the video and or rate the podcast. It helps us to get seen by more viewers so we can grow the PSS family. Down below as well, use that like or dislike. Oh, I guess there's no dislike button anymore. Oh wait, no, there is. You just can't see it, right? That's what it is. People can't see the
no, yeah, people can't see button. The dislikes. You still get them, but I have noticed that it's been more positive than negative on the YouTube ad, which is interesting. I don't like it though. You should bring back dislikes because it really does tell me as a content creator where I need to improve.
Yeah, I would like to see it too. Yeah, like I genuinely care if someone doesn't like it.
Yeah,
like, let me know why. So let me know down below as well if you dislike this episode. And of course, connect with us further on Twitter and Discord in the description. Once again, the Prince tier member, $1. Join that with the join button down below, and the $5 King tier members as well. $5 Prince, $1 Prince tier being, of course, Tabi Musa. $5 King tier members are, of course, Caleb Kaiser, SideQuest Sean, the Iraq Knight, and of course the homie Owen. And we'll be doing more stream series. We have like 6 missions left of Horizon.
Ooh.
And I think we're done. So we may be able to finish it either this week or the week after. But like definitely before January ends. Yeah, for sure. I kind of want to do it this week, but we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see if I get time, I got to do adult stuff. Like I got to re-register the car. I got to get fitted for a suit for my little brother's wedding.
Ooh, fitted. I love that. Yeah.
I got the group code for Mental Warehouse. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be good.
Oh, you know they guarantee it. You're gonna love the way you look. They guarantee it.
I fucking listen. I just like that. Yo, I'll be looking fire.
Oh, dude, no way. It's a fitted.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
of course you got.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I listen, gentlemen out there, get yourself a fitted suit because
absolutely
the ladies love it. That's what I've been told. My best friend, every time there's a man with a fitted suit, she's like, hot damn.
Hot damn. Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God for watching. And as always, greatness.
Oh, wait.
Oh yeah. Oh, wait. You want to?
No, I love that we mess it up. Okay, ready?
You know what?
No. Here you go. 3, 2, 1. Greatness awaits.
Greatness awaits. There we go.